afternoon and good evening, YouTube and Facebook, and now Instagram, I believe, which I'm working with again for the first time today. I am so excited. I'm like, wait, what show is this again, Sarah? I just finished a pop-up tarot. I'm like, hold on.
You champion live streamer, you are.
My hats. I'm doing my best. Before I introduce my beautiful guest, that we have so many juicy gems to share with y'all. You can go to kristenwriter.com if you need an astrology reading or a sound healing. You can register for my Platonic Sound program. We launch the octahedron tomorrow, the air element, at 11 a.m. Eastern on Zoom. That is on my website as well. And I'm going to make sure that Instagram is now doing what I'm asking it to do. And we are here. Oh my gosh, I think it might be delayed, but this is exciting. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my 23rd episode of Who Are You? Who, who are you? Who. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be here with a beautiful goddess I have known for several months now. We met through seriousjoy.com, and she has been a guest on my Serious Joy show. That was, I don't know if it was keeping it real or keeping it so real. That's all getting changed. But we had a wonderful opportunity to meet each other then, and we met at Unite the Light.
No, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to this last one, but I'm going to be at the next one. Promise
Ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful guest, Sara McPhee.
Hi, everybody. Yay. I've been looking forward to this for a month now. I'm so excited to be here with you.
It is so ironic because you and I scheduled this back in November, and then it's like the holidays happen to everyone. Like the spiritual 2x4, and then it's like it's January 1st. I have to start counting people. Are we all back from whatever just happened to us? And yeah, here we are making it happen. And the interesting thing is you're now a little more involved with Serious Joy behind the scenes.
I am. I'm one of the new light runners, and I've been just having such a blast helping. It's been amazing.
So great to be working with you in multifaceted ways now.
I know.
Like you're Pisces or something.
I think I am.
I'm like, wait, oh God. And I'm like, oh no, I forget her chart. Should I have looked at her chart? And I'm like, no, because that's not what today's about. Today is about you sharing your amazing gifts. And I mean, I'm a little bit psychic. So when, of course, I'm looking at someone's chart. Hi, Colette. Thanks for joining us. When, I'm looking at someone's chart for a show like that, obviously I'm very much more in tune with you, but you have so many gifts that you are blessing the universe with. And I want to hear the journey that got you to that point, if you don't mind sharing. And her website, y'all, is giveblessing.com. And I can assure you, Sarah is the blessing.
Thank you.
So what was it that inspired you? Because you're a holistic practitioner. My God, it was so hard to get that word out. Like everything holistic that you do is of a very spiritual nature. Well, nature is spirit, right? Especially
That's
now.
correct, for sure.
But it's challenging in today's world and programming, in my opinion, to find those routes. So what inspired you to take this journey, or what was the challenge or evolution into choosing all of these holistic practices that you are going to share with us today?
Well, I felt my entire life, especially under my Saturn return, was all divine led. Sometimes I felt like I didn't even have a choice where I was being led. It just dropped into my lap, like, here you go. So when I was young, my neighbor got really into essential oils. And so I was introduced to that at a very young age. And I started diving into that and how that helped. And then a book came around where Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And I learned how feelings get buried in the body and actually are connected to very specific diseases that we have. And so that fell into my lap. And then when I was young, early 20s, I heard about Reiki. And within 3 days, all of a sudden somebody was coming to me out of the blue. I have this Reiki circle. Would you like to come join me? I didn't even know this person. They were just asking me to this Reiki circle. And so over the next few years of that, I was able to take courses and I became a Reiki master.
Amazing, because
Yeah,
it's an attunement process, right? Like
it
level
is. It
1,
is.
2, 3.
Yeah.
How many
And I did
levels?
it over, there are three, and I did it all over about 2.5 years, getting my attunements and getting into it, still working with the essential oils, discovering a little bit more, but I was still not eating right. I was still not practicing a healthy lifestyle. I am a Pisces. I did fall into some Pisces darkness.
It's
I will
okay.
admit that.
Okay. It's okay, Pisces. I love you. I know a lot of Pisces. My Mars is in Pisces. I feel you.
Yeah. So actually, what led me into going deeper into the holistic practice, and the reason why I call myself a holistic transformation mentor, is because I created my own transformation from cancer to health. And at 26, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And this was after I'd studied Reiki and everything. I still wasn't getting things right for my body.
Mm.
And so when I went through that experience, it was like my life shot off, and literally I moved. I shot off to California from Indiana, and I just started following one step after another. I got into herbal teas, herbal medicine, into diet, and then I found Reiki, not Reiki, sorry, Ayurveda. And I found the studies of Ayurveda. And what I learned is that they cover essential oils, they cover crystals and color therapy and sound therapy and diet therapy, all of the senses. And I was like, yes, this just makes the whole holistic
'Cause
world
the
make
Ayurvedic, it
sense,
also does the
right?
elements, right?
It does. It covers the elements and the qualities that we use to describe the elements. And it is really a science of life. And it's a science of life for everybody, no matter creed, race, or religion. It is a lifestyle, what I call the self healing lifestyle, that this whole world could
Absolutely,
use,
and for
honestly.
those that are new to all of this, I mean, Reiki is an energy healing with our hands, and food is medicine. I'm from Ohio, so we were neighbors. I grew up, like, steak and
Yeah.
potatoes and, now I'm
Yes.
sometimes pescatarian, mostly vegetarian, but we don't get educated very well in those states, in my opinion, on how to treat food as medicine. And that's the first thing that we put in our bodies. So, what can you give us more of a definition of what Ayurvedic is? Because some people might not know what that is.
Sure. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but it is an ancient practice of life, literally describe definition is science of life, and it's from India. And there's text and research going all the way back 5,000 years ago. And I believe in my soul that it was a practice that was saved and protected all the way from like the fall of Atlantis, so that we will know really how to treat our bodies in the way that we're meant to. They're vessels. And so it has a very spiritual practice to it, which I
Hmm.
absolutely love. And then it also has a very kind of physics. practice to it. So it's a mesh of both science and beliefs and all these wonderful things combined in one. What you can find now in the modern Ayurvedic world is a lot of supplements. Learning about ashwagandha, that is one herb that was brought about because of Ayurveda. And also things like yoga. Yoga is the sister science to Ayurveda. In my opinion, you can't have one without the other. It's
Right.
combined practice. So while yoga is kind of the spiritual aspect where we dive into the soul and meditation and all that, Ayurveda is the other side where we take in the medicine, how we take in the medicine, and what medicine is best for us. So when you break it down, each individual there's like 7 constitutions, right? And really it's just a combination of 3 different constitutions, the Pitta, the Kapha, and the Vata. And so it's understanding what constitution you are, what level, because it's all percentages. For an example, let's say myself, I'm like a 55 Pitta, like a 35 Kapha, and the rest is Vata. So I have like a great mix of the 3, but everybody can be different and everybody has a different
Yeah.
percentage. So it's getting to know who you are, literally who you are, and matching the medicine matching the medicine to yourself, because what can be medicine for one is actually
Correct.
poison for another and
Yeah.
vice versa. That's why I'm like, get rid of the bad diets. What do you need to
Yeah.
personalize your
And
diet?
and it's interesting because I actually worked with a Hindu shaman many years ago, so I learned a lot of the Ayurvedic, and I'm like, but it's been so long, and I'm like, I'm a Kapha. Do people's element do those ratios shift as we? I mean, everything shifts as we get older, but like,
Your natural constitution is determined at conception,
wow,
not just birth,
okay,
conception. Yeah.
okay,
So that doesn't change.
interesting. Okay,
But what does change is your imbalance, and we have special words for it. The natural constitution is called your prakruti, and your imbalance is called your vikruti. So your vikruti can change. It can change by the day, by the hour, by the month, by the year. It's always fluctuating how you're in and out of
and that
balance.
makes sense, especially when we're navigating so many things that are in our environment that we didn't ask to have put there, and how to detox those and how to cleanse those out of our system. Now, so Ayurvedic, Reiki, and then you kind of threw them all into a pot that became giveblessing.com. Yeah?
Yes, yes, because I am multifaceted. I am a tarot reader myself. I actually speak to spirit guides. They tend to come to me very easily. All I can have some mediumship skills when it comes to those who have passed on, but I feel like those who have passed on and are coming to me through the client, they're actually spirit guides for the
That
client
happens
as well.
often.
And
Yeah.
so yeah. So I have that skill, and I also have the ability to kind of see into some past lives as well. And these are all just inner skills of my mental and spiritual attitude. And yeah, I like I said, I encompass the 5 sense therapy where I work with people's diets, I work with people's sense of smell, hearing, sight, touch. I am trained a little bit in massage therapy. And I have all these wonderful skills, and I just wanted to put it all together and just give blessing to the healing that has encompassed my life, and I want to share
And it
that.
sounds like, through the diagnosis with ovarian cancer that you healed yourself from, that it activated all of those innate gifts that are already in you, and then you went and studied and then put them in the pot, and this is how you facilitate it for your clients.
Yes, actually, it was quite an activation to go through. I
Oh,
would
really?
not
And it's
suggest it.
it's nothing new. I know a
But
lot of really powerful
yeah.
healers that healing themselves of cancer is actually what did activate them, not I don't I mean, I think that you're gonna be very busy because a lot of people that have, turbo cancers are running rampant, like, things are, like, really escalating, and especially with the astrology that we're all gonna be experiencing this year, I think people are gonna realize, "Oh, wow, I totally got blindsided here. What are some alternative healing techniques that I can do that are really gonna work?" Which is more away from the Western programming.
Yes.
I'm trying to I
I'm recently learning that I should probably tone down my words so that the algorithm doesn't dislike me. But yes, I totally, yeah, there are so many different alternative ways. And like you said, growing up in Indiana, Ohio, I was squashed. I mean, I'm a highly spiritual, in tune person. I was having visions at the age of 3, but that was just told to me, no, you're having like nightmares,
Right, right.
don't be that way. Don't talk about that stuff. I was squashed by the
Yeah,
church, of course, and there was so many things that was just pushed down inside, stuff down. Don't be that way. That it probably did. I probably did need to have this major activation, but at the same time, I feel a huge purpose and a drive to help other women with the issues that we're having in the reproductive system, and it's starting to become very talked about nowadays. There's lack of study, there's a lack of help for women nowadays, and so while I like to really help that focus, and I have with past clients, I've helped regulate cycles, I've helped relieve symptoms of PCOS. And I'm even helping a client right now with recovering from ovarian cancer. I also dive into other things like helping people get off prescription medicines, helping people not have to use the CPAP machine. Had a lot of success with that with a client recently with
amazing.
that. Just, she's like, I don't want to have this machine every night. I'm like, I got you. Let's do this. And it was easy. It was 3 months. And she was like, what symptoms? The doctors were looking at her like, "Why are you even
So great,
here?"
and I love hearing those stories and, because I'm I'm a firm believer in everything that you're doing for yourself and for clients, and that's how I live my life, like, if it's dirt and it's gonna do something and it's from the planet, I'll do that before I will even think about looking up a doctor. Like, I can't tell you the last time I this is not how I roll. And my mom is that way as
Yeah.
well, but certain things in my life, like staph infection or whatever, I had to, like, get that all done, but what, there is also so your clients are women-based?
It is women-based. I have helped men in the past. It's not any different. It's just kind of what the universe brings to me as women. So I'm just happy to help who comes to me for help. And it every treatment
Oh,
is
yes.
unique. So it's really hard to pinpoint and describe, but every treatment is unique because we have to get down to the
Right.
root
Right.
cause.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you do any it's interesting because I see Ayurvedic a little bit like homeopathy, like you
It's
find
very
what
similar.
and if it's an imbalance, it'll take it. If it's not, it'll secrete it. It's like a win-win-win type of practice. Now, are your clients mainly do you do things online? Do you think do is it a mix of in person and online? Because I imagine online that would mean you need to start shipping them stuff. Like, how does that all work?
Yeah, I primarily work
Okay.
online right now, and I'll get to that in a second that I wanna get offline for a bit. But, yeah, I ship digestive aids, which are just spices, and I make sure that they get all my routine kits that I have available on my website so that they can start doing the Ayurvedic daily cleansing that is necessary in a healing lifestyle. But I am an Airbnb host. I've been hosting in my apartment for 3 years now, and I also have a glamping site that I set up in the summer for people to come. And I hope to one day invite my clients out to do specialized diet cleanses and just healing practices. I live in such a beautiful and clean, one of the cleanest areas of the United
That's
States.
me. I
And
also wanna
so I
talk
like,
about because 'cause I've seen some of your Facebook pictures and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my god, she's up by the redwoods." That's up I've
I
been there
am.
once before. I was
So,
touring, with the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and I got to go up to Muir Woods, and I was like I was like, "Oh my
mm.
gosh, I wanna be a fairy in this place because it's so wonderful." Is your glamping close to there?
Well, while there's not redwoods, maybe 4 or 5 on my 40 acres that I own, there's no redwood grows, directly in my property. We do have to travel down the hill, is what we say, to get to the Avenue of the Giants, which is just down the hill, basically, and where we
It's
have to go
closer
for
than
our
Asheville
nearest,
is to there.
gas station. So I do. I get to drive the Avenue of the Giants and see these big, massive redwoods all the time. I go there for healing. I want to take guests there. I want to take clients there. But at the same time, the I live here for a reason. I live here for my health, and I want to share that. The water is clean. The air is pure. There's zero to barely any chemicals in this area because everybody is very organic. Yes, we do have a large specialty agricultural crop, but everybody is very organic about it. So the waters are clean and everything that you need to live in a healing environment is right here for everybody. And I just want to bring people out.
I'm like, "Well, are you" so does that bring us to the next thing? Because if people wanna book you to do a cleanse and introduce this type of lifestyle in, they would just go to your site, right?
Well, no, I don't have any direct links to book anything like this. It's something that I'm starting up. I'm talking with my first client about coming out. So it's very fresh, very new. If you are interested, there's links to book free consultation calls with me, and we can talk about it
Amazing.
there.
I'm like, "Ooh, can you put that" I don't know if you have the power to put that link in the chat. Is that something that you
Oh,
sent
let me look.
me in your Google? I don't think it
I
happened
do not
yet.
know.
And if
Hmm.
we have
I
our
don't
own
know.
we're doing some tech stuff, y'all, bear with us, 'cause you're on the
Let me
West
look. I
Coast,
cannot
'cause
see
I know
where to
that this is
write a
something that
chat.
you are working on manifesting, which is another reason I wanted to have you on the show because that's why I started this show. Like, I was like, I need to be accountable for all the things I'm doing. And I'm like, what can I do to, get this show going? And I'm like, oh, I could help other light workers that are still in the closet like me, you know? So if you can put that link for people to contact you in person for one of these glamping adventures that you are birthing, you can put that link in our private chat. It says private chat. If
Oh,
you put
okay.
that
There it is.
there,
I
then
see it.
I can
I see
copy
it.
it and put it in the public chat for everybody so they can find you, and then I can
Mhm.
also put it up on the screen. Look how technical I've gotten. Is
You're so great. Just give me 2
that
seconds. Oh my goodness. So it is, for everybody out there, it is difficult to do tech stuff and talk at the same time, but I'm gonna
You're
attempt it
doing
for everybody.
great. And it's interesting because you were talking about how you do tarot and, you are psychic as well. And when we continually practice those gifts, then, it gets better and better. It's practice makes perfect. And then it opens up new channels. And of course, you're going to start talking to dead people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you also have to put up, the part of the practice is putting
Oh,
up
yeah.
your
Healthy
safeguards.
boundaries in everything.
And healthy boundaries and not allowing, um, The first thing I was taught about mediumship is that the spirit world is not the strongest in this plane. We are the strongest in this plane, in this dimension. And so understanding and knowing that helps protect you. If there's some spirit or some energy that you do not want in your space, all you have to do is
Oh, yeah.
shoot them out and be
Oh,
like,
girl,
I don't
I
want you
command
here.
that shit
This is my
out of
right.
here. I'm like,
Get
"Get
out.
out of my house. You
Yeah.
ain't welcome." Oh, I'm the biggest bitch. I'm like, "Uh-uh, no, stand down."
Yeah, that
Oh,
part of me
yeah.
comes out too.
I
I'm
get,
very
like,
similar in that aspect. So learning
I
that
don't
first.
I'm like, "No, we don't have time for that." Boosh. I got a little bit of fire in my chart.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got that in there, and I wanna post this also up here for anyone. So, okay, because a lot of people are gonna, in my opinion, start experiencing some very interesting transformations and need the work that you do by going to giveblessing.com. That is where they can get into the cleansing program and counseling and Reiki with you. That
Yeah. I have an online program. It's roughly 3 months. I'll work with you until we're ready to let go. So there's just a date put on it, but don't regard that. But what I've learned as a Pisces who forgot to take care of the vessel of her body, that we do have to start here. So we start with the diet. We start organizing that and making sure that our digestion system is regulated. We start learning about the five senses. And then from there, I then take the clients deeper into the spiritual and the energetic aspect. I start giving more Reiki after that. I start helping guide their soul. A lot of times I find that my clients have this shift in life, like something dramatic or something big happens. And so I help them through that. And they tend to find their purpose as well after getting in
'Cause
alignment with
there's
their bodies.
clarity, right? There's balance,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
clarity, there's the gift of being able to see, like, it's just clarity and to be healed. It's so stressful to be ill.
It is. It's so stressful. It takes up so much of our energy to be ill. Just think if you had that 2 hours after a meal where you weren't feeling bloated, like you had to sit on the couch, acid reflux coming up, what would you do? W What could you do? There's so much that you could do when you're just eating, digesting properly, and going off, It's just it blows my mind how long I spent suffering in my digestive system before I was like, "No, I gotta get this in order." Some people stay there, and they don't even realize that they are suffering anymore, it's just the norm. IBS is a rampant dis-ease that is the norm for a lot of people, and I'm here to help at this stage make sure it goes away and we find a
Yeah,
new norm.
IBS is the symptom from the toxic things that have been put in the food. It's the side effect of the poison that people are eating.
That's the other thing I teach. I teach what is poison, how to lead a clean life, and how to daily detox it so that we're not stressing our bodies out by doing these severe detoxes, but
It
doing it
I
daily.
I agree with that as well. It's interesting because I used to do, very intense when I was working with a shaman in California, very intense detoxes that would end with like a 3-day water fast. And it was like, okay, they were a week long. And then you go and do colonics and whatever. And it's like, I did those for many years in my 20s and early 30s. And then I made my son, and I'm going to be 50 this year. And I'm like, when's the last time I did a cleanse? I'm like, I intermittent fast every day. I do my exercises. I do eat well. I do allow a little bit of gluttony here and there because I am a Leo rising. I like to have fun, but it's not like a whole like I have one friend that will she and her husband like every 7 weeks do like a big David avocado wolf cleanse, which is,
Ooh.
parasitic. What how does Ayurvedic work with parasitic? Because in certain things that I've been researching and, you know, seeing what is really at the base of disease. It's believed that it's all parasite based. So have you read or researched that, or does Ayurvedic address that, or it just naturally happens with the balance?
It naturally happens with the balance. I have researched it a bit, and we don't address the parasites specifically. We just say, oh, you have a kapha imbalance in your gut system. Once we regulate that kapha imbalance, the parasites that are plaguing you and having difficulties will naturally fix themselves and they'll reduce because you're not
Right.
feeding them anymore.
And that's exact
Does
that's
that
I
make sense?
love that approach, and it's very Piscean with Saturn in Pisces because we create what we well, South Node in Virgo, really. We create what we focus on, so I do like that they don't say, "Oh, it's parasitic," because then the mind gets fixated on, "I've gotta get rid of this," right? Whereas
Some parasites are healthy in the gut, some
Mhm.
parasites are not. And so, yeah, it's an overabundance of one of the doshas in the belly. And regulating that can be simple. And that's why it should, if you do it right, should only take about 3 months to regulate yourself back to normal if you do it right and you focus. And there are specific diets for each of the constitutions to regulate the gut back. There's specific herbs that we can be take. There's a term called dipana, and these are digestive aid spices. And these are spices that you can find in your cabinet right now, which I find so fascinating. You can see the joy on my face. I absolutely love this aspect. But certain ones are better for others. And just a quick example, if you do have a kapha belly and you're feeling sluggish and tired afterwards, and maybe you're having some weight gain that's going on, you just can't get rid of, then putting more pungency into your spices, things like paprika, lemon, cayenne, these turmeric even and black pepper, these are all spices that are specifically geared towards the kapha. Now, if we're going to flip to go to the other side, you're going to have pitta, and the pittas are going to have a belly that's going to be overly hot. So they're going to have symptoms of like acid reflux, gas upwards, pungency downwards, and
so
things like
polite, you
that. And
mean
they're
they're
going to
gonna
need,
fart?
yes, they are,
This
and it's
is
going
my
to
show,
stink.
Sarah, we gotta have some
So,
humor in here.
So their dapanas and their spices are going to be cooling, and that's going to be things like
Mm.
coriander, cumin, fennel. These are going to be the main ones, along with licorice. Licorice is a
Oh,
really cool one for a pitta. And then the vata is right in the middle. You're going to go both ways. So just pack all of that in together and
oh
see
my
how you
gosh, I
feel
wonder
each
if a
day.
lot of Libras are Vatas.
I don't. Ooh,
That'd
that's
be
interesting.
interesting,
That's
like, because 'cause they're
interesting.
always doing this, and, I swear, like, as a kapha, I have cayenne, turmeric, I do love dill and black pepper, those are, like, my go-tos. I could introduce a little more
Mm.
paprika, but that just makes me want hard-boiled eggs, Sarah.
Well, hard-boiled eggs, very specifically, fun fact, is called a sattvic food. It can benefit all three doshas in a healing way. Now, if there are some digestive difficulties, we may have to readdress that statement, but in
So
general, eggs
how
are
do
healing.
you test your client? Like, I forget the process of how you find out what you are.
I have a very deep process and I absolutely love it. It's probably my favorite part of working with a client is having the intake. It's a 2-hour intake. I have detailed questions. We go back and we talk about from childhood to where they're at
Wow.
right now. We talk about long-term tendencies, short-term tendencies, and then as we move forward in the program, I actually have them do food journaling because the first step to healing is awareness. Without awareness, you don't know what's wrong, so you don't know what to heal. So I have them journal very extensively, everything from what's going in to what's going out, and we talk about
I bet a
poop.
lot
We
because
do.
it's
It's
the
a fun
worst
topic.
it's the number one thing that the body does
Yeah,
to eliminate toxins. I said it
yeah,
politely.
yeah.
I can say it politely. So, what if do you deal with people that are, addicted to street drugs?
I particularly
I mean,
haven't yet.
that's a different thing.
Um,
So if somebody's addicted to, say, like a meth or something like that, someone's asked a question in the chat, but I think it may be hot. But
okay.
if somebody comes to you because their disease has occurred because of long-term drug use, is that something that you could help facilitate? Prescription drugs, yes. Street drugs is
Prescription drugs, yes. I don't know if I would reach that far deep because I don't feel like I am at that level and ready to yet. I do hope in the future to have a space where I can invite people to get away. And the best advice is to get away. You need to leave the environment that you're in and the lifestyle that you're in and find something completely new.
and even if
Um,
a lot of
that's
those
what I
people don't
did.
have money, so just to help you out, person, if you are a real person, to go to an AA meeting or an NA meeting, they're free and they are everywhere. So that is what I am going to
Yeah.
suggest to help that soul. Um, okay, I wanna go back to talking about your real excitement, which is having people in person on your land, because you light up
Yeah.
about that. Not that you don't light up about
Okay.
helping your clients, like, heal their bodies for the rest of their lives in a 3-month, oh my gosh, 2-hour, gonna find out your whole life into it's like doing a reading for somebody. It's like, okay yeah,
It is,
which I
it
love.
is. Yeah.
Um, so what you are you intending to start doing, like, in-person retreats where people could, like, bring their own tents and, like, do things like that? I'm planting seeds.
So many ideas. Yes, I do intend when it comes to retreats, I do intend to hold one, but finding a space that's not on my property. I have a few ideas around this area of where to go, but I would like to start by getting off the property first to hold the retreat, just so I can have a safe container, someplace that's already structured and built. My husband and I are right now are building up our property a little bit more. We have a space in the lower area of our 40 that would be really good to set up tents. And I know of a glamping company that she comes and brings like 25 tents just to set all up. So yeah, all of this is in the works. Right now, I'd like to do a retreat in a like a hot springs area. That sounds the best to me. And then have a personal experience for people in my apartment where it's just a one-on-one
Sure,
thing at the moment
sure,
and
I
build from there.
totally
But my
I
dream, you want to hear my dream? It's been it since childhood. I want to have a big space where people can come get away from the lifestyle, the environment, and things that are causing the dis-ease so they can have an outside perspective and have multiple rooms and just invite a space of healing for people to come and because that's what was the best medicine for me was to leave Indiana, to leave everything behind. I even left my poor puppy behind for 9 months till I found a space where I was able to invite him to come live with me again. I got away. I got out of my headspace. I got out of that lifestyle. And that's really, truly what I'm aiming for is that level of a healing space.
amazing. And I like that, because a lot of people go on these big spiritual retreats and then they do go back to where they were needing that break from, and it's destabilize them again from all the
It
work.
is, yeah.
Um, so it's
I thought about that. I thought about that, and I wrote that into the program that I am formulating. I want to support that person who goes home because you have such an ascension during your healing process being away. You need somebody there to help you keep that high, uplifted version of yourself and rewrite your story of where you live and where you go back to. And so the program's not just come stay with me, bye. No, come stay with me and let me help you return back
So
home, girl.
they have like a little care package. It's a little gift bag on the way home, and do
Yeah.
this when you get home, and then you'll have this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is all so wonderful. So, and I love, and you
Thank you.
still your ovaries are all good still, like everything is great, like
Yeah, I did lose my right ovary in a surgery after I was diagnosed. I had a lemon-sized tumor surrounding the
yeah.
whole thing, so it had to go. But 6 years after the diagnosis, I fell pregnant for the first time, and I also now, along with my 5-year-old, I also have a 1-year-old. So I've given birth twice after this whole thing, and yeah, I'm not only proud of myself, but I'm proud of what's going on
I'm
down there.
why am I proud of you? Oh my gosh, I hope you're proud of yourself. Well, and there's been in the since 2021, there has been a significant decrease in birth rates and a huge increase in miscarriages. And, you know, I mean, I can remember a story back in my 20s. I was spiritually waking up and I had been on birth control for a long, long time because that's what the doctors told me I should do, and endometriosis and all this other stuff. And then I just quit it cold turkey along with other things. Didn't have a cycle for 3 years, but was starting to meet women in my life that were older than me and were having problems getting pregnant. But the stuff that they do to a woman's body, like the hormone injections, all of those, and I mean, I'm sorry if you're on birth control pills, please don't throw them in the toilet. Don't throw any prescription drugs in the toilet, but just definitely stop doing them. Um,
I like to say, try to find a better way of living and one that works for you. I know that cycle regulation, just being aware
okay,
of what
the
your cycle
rhythm
is and
method
how it
The
functions
rhythm
is,
method that our
yeah.
ancestors used forever and a day, I think that's something that is very, I love your focus of it, but the empowerment of, we do have consciousness, uh, empowerment over our bodies by being more connected with it, and the rhythm method. And what did you call it?
Cycle rhythm
Cycle
or cycle
tracking?
tracking?
Okay. There's apps and stuff that do it for
Yeah.
people now too.
Oh,
I'm
there's lots
old,
of stuff,
girl,
yeah,
like,
but,
give me the millennial stuff. Like,
I work with a lot of women who are also off their cycles, and you need to start. You're still a woman. You're not meant to be functioning in the 24/7, 7 days a week work cycle. You're meant to be following the moon. And so it's been a very recent study, personal study of mine, where I am living by a 28, 29-day cycle where there's 1 week out of the month where I am go getter and I get it done. And then there's another week out of the month where I'm slowing down. I don't do much. There's 3 days where I just don't do anything. I say, peace out. This
nice.
is my days off. And so I live by this cycle of up and down, up and down. And I found that my life just is magically
Yeah,
going so much better. My emotions are better. My work is a lot better because I know when to tell people, hey, I'm in my prime right now. Let's get some stuff done. And then next week, you might see me drop off a little bit.
it's
But
the
hey,
ebb and the
yeah,
flow,
it'll be
right?
okay.
And especially in all
Yeah.
of these, new frequencies that are coming to the planet, like, I can't force myself the old business as usual way. It's like, "No, I'm fried, so anything that I give right now is gonna be very half empty."
And we don't need to get ourselves to the point of
Oh,
emptiness. We need to give ourselves the space every single month to know that, hey,
let's slow
let's
down.
slow down.
And that
Let's rest.
that
Let's
brings
speed
me
back up.
to the question, because you're married and you have 2 children. So, how is meal prep and me with the whole family? Do you practice Ayurvedic with your whole family?
I do, and luckily enough, we are all
Oh my
Pitta
gosh,
primaries.
oh my
So
gosh, oh, wow, that is comical. So
we are an intense family, and we need a lot of cooling foods. My husband is a little bit more Vata, so I need a little bit more nourishing for him. I'm a little more Kapha, so I need a little bit more, raw food aspect. But we mesh very well, and of course, the Ayurvedic diet, the first guideline is to eat fresh,
Mhm,
whole food,
mhm.
right? So I am always in the kitchen.
Exactly, exactly, and so
Yeah.
because, moms and taking care of our kids, especially, and do you do that type of, training or and counseling for people that are interested to bring that to their family? Like, what would you say if they were a mixed
I
family? Because it sounds
do.
like you got lucky.
I do. I suggest when practicing mindful eating and the Ayurvedic diet, remember whole foods, remember fresh, but then also remember your healthy eating guidelines. And I wrote a children's book about it, and I'm looking around like I threw it out here somewhere. I don't know where I
Have
put
the
it.
link to your book right here. I
Yeah.
am going to put
And
this also up for people because they can go to Amazon and get it, right?
yeah, it's self-published, and I wrote and illustrated the whole thing, and I did it for my children because I wanted to teach my children the healthy eating guidelines that I only knew half of them growing up. If I would have known the other half, who
Yeah,
knows how
and that's
cool
the
my
thing, even
digestion would
saying
have
whole
been.
foods, a lot of people don't know what that is.
Non-processed, so getting away from the freezer meals, getting away from, just oh, the fast food that you get at restaurants, highly processed salts and soy protein isolates, and all of these things, getting away from all of that and just going for fruit, vegetables, grain. I don't preach veganism or vegetarianism. I say, hey, what feels best for your constitution, blood type, and whatever you need,
I do
please
blood type
eat.
2.
And yeah, and so it's all based on the person, and, if you need meat, eat meat, but don't eat processed
You, like, go
meat.
to your local.
Try to get as
Yeah.
local and
Oh my
organic as
gosh, I did that with
possible.
my sister, in Ohio. God bless what they eat, but I did, suggest they found a farm where they do local meat, and she's like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Yeah."
It's completely different, it's so healthy. But here's the thing, you mentioned this a little bit earlier with your Leo rising. You said you like to be a little gluttonous. This is something that I had to learn as a very intense, regulated person. I grew up with dairy allergies, so I was like, "I can't have that, I can't
Mhm.
have that. I must, focus, focus, focus." But I had to learn to get out of that, and it's okay to eat your chocolate cake on occasion. It really is. But you don't wanna eat chocolate cake for
No,
breakfast every morning. So, the statement is that I like to say is, it doesn't matter what you're doing on occasion. What really matters is what you do on an everyday basis, because this is gonna be the greatest determiner of our
absolutely,
health,
and then you
truly.
won't have to do crazy fasts and cleanses that's gonna completely detox you and then turn you into a person, and then you're over it and you're like, "Wait, now what do I do?" It's very
Yeah,
peaceful and
exactly.
balanced. I love that, and it's so fascinating, we're both from the Midwest, and, I mean, as soon as I left, I mean, well, I lived in New York City for a while and toured and whatnot, but
Mm.
me e left because 'cause I'm A negative, so it was like, okay, it just left right away. So, I was like, "Alright, well, there we go," and then it just started from there. But, amazing.
But
Yeah.
When you talk about the healthy eating guidelines, which is in the books in a very fun way, I go through each one of them. There's a little section in the back where it lists the guidelines. I find that they can help you regulate your digestion almost as much as finding a specialty diet because you're starting off right. When we eat, we should think about it as going to church. Let's just put it out there. It's like
And
going
we're
to
the
church for your
temple.
body. We're the temple, exactly. So you gotta sit, eat quietly. You don't wanna be distracted by negative, violent TV going on. You want to chew your food thoroughly because that's the first stage. If you mess up that stage, it's gonna take even longer to digest that food. You don't wanna drink too much water because that will dilute your digestive power. Um, you don't wanna For some, you need to stand up and walk to help that digestion moving. For others, you need to sit down for a little bit and let yourself rest. There's these and more that I go into in the book, but I find that they help the client sometimes a lot more
I
than even just a specialty diet.
I love that. It's so funny because I don't even drink water when I eat, and I'm like, "Well, oh,
Oh,
yeah, I
good.
don't," and I'm like, I'll forget. I'll forget to put water on the table for people sometimes because I never drink, and I'm like, "Okay, it's hilarious. That's amazing." Um, well, and that's the other thing, I love that you mentioned to not watch violent TV or any TV at all, like, but to
Just
pray
nothing.
or sing over your food, like, thank earth for your food,
Mhm.
like, that is our consciousness. It can raise the frequency of our food, set the tone for the ceremony of sharing a meal with someone. It's all
Putting good energy in so you can receive that
I
energy
talk about
back.
that a lot. Blessing it with our
Yeah.
intentions. Oh my goodness. It's
Yes,
so
ma'am.
potent and powerful. Um, gosh, I feel like we've covered so much.
I know, it's amazing. You've asked so many great
This is why I
questions.
don't
Thank you
plan
so
it because 'cause I'm
much.
like, "Oh, no, God will tell me," and I was like and I know, Sarah, that we're gonna have so much fun, and I love the Ayurvedic press. I probably still practice it a little more than I realize, but, just we could shape our country's re-evolution by not going to any fast food restaurants ever again, by not going
Yeah.
down the General Mills aisle of cereal ever again. I think as a country, in that unifying opportunity that is going to be presenting itself very loudly this year, that we can assist in getting all of us to where we want to go faster by putting our dollar where it matters. And that is Whole Foods. Not Whole Foods, I can't even say.
Eat your vegetables, eat them slightly cooked, eat your good foods, your grains, and all your spices,
Yeah.
add it all in.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
shifting away from putting our money towards that and, like, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, go to kombuchas, go to all of that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's so many different things that we can get into and different levels of experience into the holistic world. You are where you're at right now, and just having the awareness of where you're at is gonna shift you into a better
Sure. So
lifestyle
what
already.
would you say if somebody
Yeah.
is somebody that's really needing help and getting away from those systems, the fast food, the pre-made meals, and they know they have to make that change, but they're really afraid. Like it's an identity almost, right?
Once Yeah, it's one step at a time. It's literally try one meal this week. Cook it for yourself, see how you feel afterwards, journal about it, and then the week after, try another meal. So 2 meals that week, and just really baby step your way into forming a new life because it's not a rush to the finish line. That's not how we create change in our bodies and our mind. It's literally a nice long process. keep it slow, keep it easy. If you do about 75%, I call that a success, right? And just having compassion,
Compassion,
really.
because there's so much with the eating also, especially as women, like the guilt and the shame or this, listen, musical theater was my past life, this lifetime. So I went through the whole relationship with food and my body and all of those things. And yeah, I love the way I eat now. But that's, I think, really supportive for anyone watching this show that, may be overweight, but very, and knowing they need to change their lives, but like, oh, I'm going to have to just like get rid of everything and then do your program. And it's like, I love your approach of nope, baby steps, baby steps,
No,
baby steps.
baby steps. I always coach people to bring one new food item into their diet and eliminate one old food item per week, so that eventually, when you get comfortable with the new coming in and the old going out, all of a sudden, 3 months have gone by and you're like, "Wow, look at me, it's all changed, but it was so simple."
Because it's a
And
slow
it's
process,
that
so
process.
your ego's not freaking out like, "What do you mean I don't get my
Exactly.
blah, 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 blah?" I mean, I don't even know what you would say.
I don't get my ice cream at night. Well, maybe not have ice cream twice
I
this week,
literally said
and
that in my pop-up, "Who
there you
are
go.
you today?" I was like, "Okay, instead of having your inner child is kicking and streaming, instead of having ice cream 5 times a day, maybe you'll have it 3 times a week. Still gonna have it, but that is so."
I wasn't even watching this
I
time,
mean,
so that's funny.
a little
That's
bit
funny.
psychic, sister, a little bit psychic.
Yes.
Do you have any, I mean, I feel very good about this whole conversation. Um,
I loved it. It's been such a blessing to be here. You're such an amazing, psychic, astrologer, healer yourself with your sound. It's been amazing to get to know you and have this conversation with you. And I was wondering, as a tarot reader myself, that sometimes it's difficult to get other
I would
people to read for
what?
you. Can I read a card for
Go for it,
you?
darling, go for it, I'm ready. Ready for my close-up.
So we're picking from my favorite deck, the Guiding Elements. It's an Ayurvedic path. And what's inside here is all the different Ayurvedic healing
That's
routines
so
that we can do.
cool.
So do you want one just for you or one for the
Whatever you
collective?
feel called to share, or both.
Let's do let's do both. Let's
Yes,
do
I'm
both.
winning, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to receive.
All right. So this first one is for you. Romancing your soul. Love yourself, my dear. You need to romance your soul. So you need to take yourself out on a special date, whatever that may be, just for yourself. Think of your most perfect date and take yourself on it. And
No
that's what that
kidding. It's
means.
been that
And
you're
just
nailing
an
it. That's
act
been
of,
coming
yeah.
up for a few weeks now, and I definitely am going to.
Another thing that you can do to romance your soul is to write yourself a love letter. And this is really tells the truth of what Ayurvedic healing can be. It can be as simple as that and as self-loving as that, right? For the collective watching, my favorite topic, natural alignment, getting in tune with the
Mm,
circadian rhythm, not only with your diet and your eating habits, but also with your sleep. There's 3 pillars when it comes to health, according to Ayurveda. There's your sleep, your diet, and your sexual energy. And this aligns with 2 of them, the sleep and diet. When you eat midday in the sun and you have your largest meal, that is when your digestion is the strongest and you can handle it. Don't try to eat a very large meal right before you go to bed because your body can't handle it. You're just like sluggish, you can't sleep right.
yes, right, and you
But
have
at the
weird
same time,
dreams.
weird dreams and all that stuff. There is a natural cleaning process that our body does at night, and it starts at 10 p.m. and goes to about 4 or 5 a.m. for everybody. Our organs click into gear and start doing these special things that it doesn't do during the day. So when you stay up late and you don't align yourself with the circadian rhythm, which means falling asleep when it gets dark and waking up when it gets light, you're missing out on this natural healing process that all our bodies know and like to do. And so aligning with that, aligning your meal times and aligning your sleep, you're covering 2/3 of your
That's it. I
your
don't
healing
even wear
process.
sunglasses anymore.
No, I only do it if I'm, like, driving and it's really intense.
I look into the sun. Little bit of Aries, just a little bit of Aries. Little
Well, if you do wanna align your circadian rhythm, that is one of the easy ways to do it is to sun gaze at the sunset
Yep,
and at the
that is right.
sunrise.
The best way it
Yeah,
is an ancient practice of healing that we have all been,
yeah.
uh, deceived about, and the sunrise will help give you the codes of that day that you need throughout the day, and the sunset will help you release them and prepare for the evening time. Yes,
Yes, you know it, ma'am.
that's why I wanted it on my show. I'm so grateful. Oh my goodness. I am
Oh,
so
me
grateful
too.
for all of these gems and wisdom that you shared with everyone. And thank you for being my guest. And thank you for blessing me with a card reading. I love surprises, and that was a very good surprise. And I have been thinking about taking myself out for a while now. Yeah,
You better have it done by the end
I
of this
know,
week.
I know. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And maybe I'll do it at lunchtime because that is when I like to have my big meals.
Yeah,
Perfect.
perfect,
Ladies
perfect.
and gentlemen, a round of applause for my beautiful guest, Sara McPhee. Who, go to her website, giveblessing.com. Just being in the presence of you for this interview was a blessing. Do stay on in the green room so I can say private things to you backstage, Sara. I thank you so much for your
Thank you
sharing.
so much for having me. I really
I love
appreciate
it.
this. I
And
yeah.
everybody else. Okay, so my guests next week, I'm having trouble getting a hold of. They are in the LA area. It was my my sound engineer for my sound healing CD, Beyond Illusion. Oh, that's interesting. I pulled that card. Okay, sorry. My guides are starting to yell at me about something now. I'll keep you all posted. Thank you so much for tuning into this beautiful show. If you're ready for a lifestyle change and ready to love your body more, do contact Sara McPhee. And of course, I'm Kristen Ryder at .com if you need a reading or a healing or all the things. Okay. Or if you want to be on my show. So that I also need. All right, friends. Thank you. Love you. Thanks. Bye.